If Japan is on your family's bucket list and you're traveling with young kids,
guys, there's somebody next to you. Come on, girl.
we've got the perfect video for you.
I'm really pissed. Come back.
This thing's become quite challenging for us. We are a hot mess.
You have no manners.
Recently, we embarked on an incredible trip to Japan with our 4 young children. And while we had an amazing time making memories, indulging in delicious food, and participating in some quirky experiences,
When are we gonna get real dinner?
traveling in Japan with kids is not a walk in the park.
Bad! It's bad!
Foaming at the mouth.
Go right near you're sitting. Just hold them in your lap.
We learned a lot from our hilarious and sometimes cringeworthy mistakes. And we want to share them with you so that you can avoid making the same blunders. From snacking on the streets and trains to navigating the lack of trash cans, we've got it all covered. So, grab a seat, buckle up, and join us as we dive into the do's and don'ts of traveling in Japan with kids. Trust us, you won't want to miss this. Number 1, no trash cans. We learned this the hard way, but there are no trash cans on the streets of Japan. Like, none. We literally walked around our entire first day with empty food wrappers and tissues and different trash, and it felt like hours to look for somewhere to throw them away. So, pro tip, bring a small bag with you and hold on to your own trash until you find a proper disposal site. Sometimes you can find trash cans near vending machines or near a convenience store. Otherwise, you'll be stuck carrying around your garbage all day long. Number 2, don't eat while walking.
Raya, you can't get popcorn on the ground.
So we did not know this, and we did plenty of eating and drinking while walking, but in Japan, it's considered rude to eat while walking on the street. I really wish someone had told me this ahead of time. Apparently, it's because eating while walking can make a mess, and it's also seen as not giving the food the proper respect it deserves. If you do get something from a vending machine or 7-Eleven, which I highly recommend that you do, just stand off to the side and don't walk and eat or walk and drink. Let's talk about public transportation. In Japan, it's clean, efficient, and pretty awesome overall. But there are a few things to keep in mind.
You really have to have together.
First of all, there's no eating or drinking allowed on most trains and buses.
Guys, you're not supposed to eat in the station.
We made this mistake. The kids were hungry, we pulled out snacks, and we felt like we were so rude, and we did not do it again. Second, you need to be aware of the rush hour crowds. It can get pretty packed, so make sure you hold on tight to your kids and don't take up too much space. So while we're talking about public transportation, let's talk about train tickets. Japan has one of the best train systems in the world, but it can be really confusing, especially when you're traveling with kids. First of all, make sure you buy the right ticket to your destination. And here's a fun fact. Kids under 6 years old ride for free on most trains. But if your kid is between 6 and 11, you can buy a discounted ticket for them. Just make sure you ask for it at the ticket counter. And here's another little tip that we learned. If they're under 6 and you don't buy them a ticket, so essentially they are a lap child, we had the best luck buying the unreserved tickets in the trains, so we could go to the unreserved car, and if there were empty seats, our kids could have a seat. Otherwise, if you get the reserved seating, there most likely won't be a seat for your kid that you didn't buy a ticket for. Let's talk about personal space. It's a delicate balance, isn't it?
Okay, there's other people here. Look around.
In Japan, people tend to value personal space a bit more than in other countries. So it's important to be aware of that. Don't get too close to strangers on the train or in line, and try to avoid loud conversations or disruptive behavior.
No, pick me up!
We were guilty of all of these. Let's talk about tipping. In Japan, it's not customary to tip for most services, and we mean most. So if you're used to tipping your waiter or your tour guide, you might be surprised that it's not expected in Japan.
Okay.
In fact, it can even be seen as rude or confusing. So don't worry about leaving a tip and just enjoy the service you're getting.
Yeah, thank you. Arigato gozaimasu.
Traveling to Japan with young children can be a fun and rewarding experience, but it's important to be aware of the cultural differences and customs that may differ from what you're used to. We hope our do's and don'ts have helped you better prepare for your trip. Remember to embrace the unique experiences and indulge in the delicious cuisine that Japan has to offer, while also showing respect for the local customs. We hope you found our video helpful, and we can't wait to hear about your adventures in Japan with your family. As always, if you like what you're seeing, please like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Safe travels!